Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Johnston, through you, Madam Chair, I draw your attention to page 27 of your report, where you write that CSIS sent an issues management note that warned that MP Michael Chong was being targeted by Beijing to then Public Safety Minister Bill Blair and his Chief of Staff in May of 2021. Last Thursday at this committee, Minister Blair said something quite different from what you wrote in your report. He said CSIS did not make him aware of that information. So how can one reconcile, on the one hand, what you said in your report versus what Minister Blair testified before this committee last Thursday?
Could you just give me the paragraph reference of that, page 25, do you say, page 27?
I hope this is not taking my time. Page 27.
27? Yes. And the paragraph again, okay. CSIS sent an issues management note, is that the question? No.
Yes.
Okay. CSIS conducted the briefing, but we understand from Mr. Chong's statements to the media that it did not include the detail with respect to his family.
I'm sure you're quite familiar with that. I hope you're familiar with that section of your report. It's a whole section.
Madam Chair, I'm attempting to get the context so I can provide a appropriate answer. It's clear to us that there was a breakdown in communication in warnings going from CSIS to Mr. Blair for reasons that I think have to be repaired, including who would receive information with what kind of equipment, et cetera. And I think that's been clearly indicated, and I think in this case the Prime Minister has taken action to ensure that there's a much better
Johnston,
protocol.
I just want to be respectful, but
I
have a limited time.
I'm going to pause. Right here in this beautiful sheet in front of me is exactly how much time everyone gets, exactly how much time you've actually received. You'll notice where there is a nice exchange of one person speaking at a time, the beep, beep, beep goes off, and I let the conversation continue. So I've proven myself to you, Mr. Cooper. In the last round, you had 6 minutes. You were given 7 minutes and 12 seconds. You know why? Because it was a good exchange. We're getting good information. So once again, let's just take a turn back and forth, and any time that should be given to you, rest assured, all members, it will be given to you. Mr. Cooper, the floor is again yours.
Madam Chair, Mr. Johnston, through you, Madam Chair, at page 27 of your report, you say very specifically that an issues management note was sent to the Minister in May of 2021 concerning Michael Chong, but that, quote, neither the Minister nor his Chief of Staff received that because they didn't have access to what you refer to as the top secret network email. At committee last Thursday, Minister Blair said it wasn't an issue of access. In fact, he said, quote, first of all, there is no email, end of quote. So is Mr. Blair not being forthright in his testimony, or is there a material fact or facts that you got wrong in your report? I'm trying to understand, on the one hand, what Mr. Blair said versus what you say, which I can't reconcile.
Madam Chair, the question was what Mr. Blair received. Our understanding from Mr. Blair's testimonies to us is that he did not receive the memo indicating that that warning was there.
But a memo had been sent to his attention.
My understanding is that it had his name or office on it, but he did not receive it.
And that was sent through an email, a top secret email system. That's what your report says.
Yes, Madam Chair, the understanding that I have is very clearly email or whatever, he did not receive it. That was the testimony he gave to us. And that, for us, seemed to be a very substantial flaw in how information is crystallized and finds its way into the hands of recipients who have the accountability to act on it.
Well, it's impossible to understand how Mr. Blair could say there just wasn't such an account, but you say there is. So moving on to the member for Don Valley North, you state at page 23 and 24 of your report that, quote, I did not find evidence that Mr. Dong was aware of the irregularities or the PRC consulate's potential involvement in his nomination, closed quote. Did you find any evidence or intelligence that Mr. Dong was unaware of Beijing consulate's involvement in the irregularities that happened at his nomination campaign? At the nomination meeting?
Yeah, again, I'm trying to be careful of dealing with what's open information and what's classification information. With respect to the nomination meeting, there clearly were strange practices, unusual practices going on. We did not conclude from that that was directly laid to the hands of the People's Republic. There clearly was discussion between Mr. Dong and the consulate in Toronto, but that's the extent of my understanding.
A specific question, and that was whether you had any information that he was unaware. And I want to ask you very simply, why did you not bother to interview Mr. Dong?
We, I think, interviewed the people who had information about these particular matters. Mr. Dong, at that time, I think, was proceeding with his own lawsuit, and that we felt that this was something that he should get on with.
Thank